All right, so today we are going to be taking another deep dive, and we're going to be exploring karma
Okay,
and karma yoga.
sounds good.
And we are going to be looking at this through this excerpt here that we have from Gita for Joyful Living.
All right.
Um, and as you know, we've already talked about self-knowledge and the Atman and how that brings joy.
Right.
So we're kind of building on all that, but we're going to kind of unpack here
Okay.
how to use karma yoga to turn our actions into a path for mental maturity and then ultimately that joyful living.
Excellent.
So to start off,
Yeah.
the excerpt really focuses on this idea that the difference between karma and karma yoga is not about what you do,
Right.
but the attitude behind it.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the excerpt really highlights that,
Yeah.
we are all bound to action. No one can stay still.
Yeah.
Everyone is constantly doing something, even when you think you're not doing anything.
Right. Like even just sitting here,
Exactly.
you're still like
You're still breathing.
breathing.
Yeah. Your heart is beating.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's always action happening. But through karma yoga, we can really transform those actions into something really meaningful.
It's really interesting, too, how the excerpt talks about how our actions are like actually keeping the universe going.
Right.
So it's like it's not just about us, you know?
Not exactly. It's not just our little to-do list. It's like we're all part of this
Right.
bigger cosmic dance in a way.
Yeah.
And our actions are actually contributing to the whole.
Exactly. And it's not even about like
Hmm.
getting specific results from those actions.
Right. The goal isn't to achieve something in the material world,
Yeah.
but really it's about cultivating that mental maturity,
Okay.
which ultimately leads to self-knowledge. And
Well,
that's
yeah.
where the joy comes from.
Yeah.
So it's really about the inner transformation rather than the outer achievement.
Okay. So how do we really actually do that then?
Right. So the excerpt actually gives us like 12 points
Okay.
to guide us in practicing karma yoga. And it starts by saying, do your duty, but without ego,
Right.
focus on your dharma.
Okay. And just to remind everybody, Dharma is like,
Yeah, dharma is like our inherent purpose, our
Right.
unique path in life. Is
Right.
like what we're meant to do.
okay.
And the excerpt suggests that by acting in alignment with our dharma, we kind of naturally move towards that state of balance
Okay.
and fulfillment.
So like we should be striving for excellence in whatever it is we're doing,
Absolutely.
but like not get hung up on
Yes,
results.
exactly. Like put in your best effort, but don't get attached to a specific outcome.
Okay.
Because that's where we can get into trouble.
Yeah.
If we're too focused on the results, we can get disappointed, frustrated.
Right.
So the idea is to detach from that outcome.
Okay, so it's more about the process,
Exactly.
the destination.
Yes. And the excerpt uses this beautiful analogy of seeing our actions as offerings. Like we're offering our actions to something greater than ourselves
Okay.
and then accepting the results as a gift.
So it's like surrendering the need to control everything.
Exactly. It's about letting go.
Yeah.
And trusting that things will unfold as they should.
Yeah, and another thing that it mentions is moving away from actions that are like driven by our personal desires.
Right.
And moving more towards actions that are guided by intelligence and our values.
Yes. That's a key distinction
Yeah.
because when we act solely from desire,
Mm-hmm.
we often end up in this cycle of craving and dissatisfaction.
Right.
It's like we're always chasing after something.
Yeah, always wanting more.
Exactly.
We're never satisfied.
Yeah, but when we act from a place of wisdom
Okay.
and understanding,
Mhm.
then our actions become more aligned with our true nature.
Okay.
And that's where we find true fulfillment.
Okay, so it's like choosing actions that are in line with our highest good
Exactly.
rather than just what we want in the moment.
Yep.
Okay, and the excerpt also talks about what happens if we don't practice karma yoga.
Right.
And it seems like we end up
Yeah.
strengthening our attachments and desires.
Exactly.
That can lead to suffering.
Mm-hmm. Because those attachments and desires,
Right.
they cloud our judgment.
Yeah.
They keep us trapped in this cycle of wanting and grasping.
Yeah, always feeling like we need something outside of ourselves to be happy.
Exactly. And the excerpt compares attachment to like a powerful force that binds us to the illusion of the material world. It's like we're caught in a web,
Yeah.
and those attachments are the threads that keep us stuck.
Right.
But through karma yoga, we can start to loosen those threads and eventually break free.
Yeah.
It's a gradual process, but with consistent practice, we can liberate ourselves from that suffering.
So it's like karma yoga is this path towards greater mental clarity,
Exactly.
self-knowledge, and lasting joy.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
It's about aligning our actions with a higher purpose.
Yeah.
And in doing so, we find true freedom and happiness.
So as we go about our day,
Yeah.
how can we start to think about our actions through this lens of karma yoga?
That's a great question, and it's something to really reflect on.
Yeah.
How can we shift our perspective
Yeah.
to cultivate that mental maturity and move closer to experiencing that joy
Right.
that comes from self-knowledge?
Right.
It's a journey, but it's a journey worth taking.
All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Thank you.
And we will see you next time.
See you then.